Hi, Jeff. So Jeff's on the East Coast and he lives in Massachusetts and he's been part of our Autism Tree team since 2019, right?
Awesome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey Rebecca, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
Doing good. Getting ready to close up my day job tomorrow. Tomorrow will be my last day, and then I'll focus on going the distance full time. And right now, I'm trying to fill up my schedule for the summer. So if you guys have anything, if you guys have anything that you might need help with, just let me know.
You will do. Yeah, we have a few things that I want to talk to you about, but we can do that offline.
Oh,
Um,
sure, sure.
yeah, but that's so awesome. Good for you. Congratulations. That's a big deal. You go.
Yeah. It's been a long time. It's been a long time coming. So
Yeah, Jeff, I'm really excited to introduce you to Devon. She's here in San Diego. But Devon, why don't you just say hi, whatever you want to say to Jeff.
Hi, Deb. It's nice to meet you.
nice to meet you too.
I'm really excited to be here with you all.
Mm. And I don't know if I've seen you, Erica. If you want to join on video, you're welcome to. We might just have a small group today, and that's okay. I'd love for us to personally connect, but if you can't for some reason, you can also join or type in the chat as well. I'll be watching that too. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Hi, Terrence. Oh, hi,
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi,
Terrence.
Terrence. Long time no
Hello.
see.
Hey, Jeff.
Wow, I'm so happy to see your face, Terrence. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Are you at home or are you what's going on?
Yeah, still at home right now.
Mhm. How is school going at the
It's Berkeley. It's
yeah.
good. Pretty good.
So Devon, Terrence is a musician and he got into the Berkeley
College
College
of
of-
Music.
That's awesome. One of my very close friends went there and she absolutely loved it. What
Oh,
instruments do you
I did.
play? Or are
I
you a
play a
singer or a
trombone.
composer? Ooh, trombone. That's
And I
fun.
usually I go play some synthesizer.
Cool.
Oh my
That's
God.
And
awesome.
so I compose music.
Oh, really? What kind?
I usually go to a software called MuseScore Studio, MuseScore 4, and GarageBand, Logic Pro. Those three.
What genres of music do you like to
I like the
compose?
electronic, classical and jazz and theater productions and some hip hop.
Awesome. That all sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Terrence, do you still have a SoundCloud where you make
I still do have it.
Mm. Yeah, I remember getting some links sent to us and he makes really cool music.
Yes.
And then Erica, you asked in the chat, why is this meeting being recorded? Well, Erica, we use these lunch and learns as resources all the time for our new families. So our guest speakers, we record these and post them on our YouTube channel. So if it's okay if you don't want to join or say anything, you can ask any questions in the chat. But we're just here to learn from our guest speaker today, and we like to take the time to connect each week. So we have a lot of new families too who have joined. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and then add anybody else as they come in. But a few Zoom rules, refreshers. Mute yourself when you're not speaking. We recommend speaker view for presentation. Video sharing is optional, though we love to see your smiling faces. And please type all questions and comments into the chat. I think because we have a small group today, you can feel free, Jeff and Terrence, if you have any questions, you can just unmute yourself and ask directly to our guest speaker. And then a quick update from Autism Tree. We have 357 brand new families who have filled out an intake form on our website, which is just mind-blowing incredible. All of last year, we did 767 new families from January to December, and we are already on track to pass that. We're already almost halfway to that number. So it's just amazing. Welcome to all of our new families. We're so happy to have you be a part of our Autism Tree family. Right now, we offer 20 programs, 9 are in person, 7 are hybrid, 4 are virtual. They happen at different times during the year, but we typically have anywhere from 2 to 3 events a weekend that are virtual or hybrid or in person in San Diego County. We have 17 events coming up on our calendars in May and June. And we always, we add more events as all of our events are volunteer run. So as volunteers come up to us and say that they want to do an event for our families, we always announce it on our social media. So follow us on social media on Facebook or Instagram to stay up to date for all of our new event announcements. We have our adaptive art class this Saturday with an NCL San Diego, and NCL is a National Charity League, which stands for the National Charity League Mothers and Daughters, who are a philanthropic group who volunteer with us. We've been partnered with them since 2022 now, so about 2 years, and we love the NCL San Diego chapter. They're so amazing. So they're going to do arts and crafts with our kids, and it's all ages. You can come by. It'll be at the La Jolla Rifford Library this Saturday. We also have, like I mentioned, our YouTube channel has a wealth of resources. All of our past lunch and learns, we have 143 lunch and learns uploaded onto our YouTube channel. Today is our 144th lunch and learn, and I have the ultimate pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Devon. I got to meet Devon personally last year for the first time, but she has actually been friends with she with Autism Tree through or friends with Garrett, who she grew up with Garrett and the Hoff family. She knows Dana and Garrett and Todd. And so Devon grew up with Garrett, and she's going to tell a little bit about her story. She's a recent graduate at the University of California, San Diego. She's a current registered behavioral technician. So I'm really excited to have you here, Devon. Thank you so much for making the time, and I'll pass it off to you.
Thank you, Rebecca, for that warm introduction. Hi, everybody. My name is Devon Donlon. Like Rebecca said, I am a recent graduate of UCSD. And I am currently working with a company called Behavioral Health Works that uses ABA to work with kids who have autism. So I guess I will start my story from the beginning, which is when I was a little kid, I used to tick a lot. No one knew that they were tics. No one formally told my parents that I was ticking, so they decided to dub them my Devonisms. They were minor tics, like motor things, such as raising my eyebrows or blinking my eyes really hard. Things that other kids around me weren't necessarily doing and were noticeable enough. But they didn't really matter, and I never noticed them. So as I got older, my isms developed with me, and they became more noticeable to the people around me. Although I never really noticed that I was ticking unless it was pointed out by someone else. Around 5th or 6th grade, my tics became so noticeable that I started to get bullied by some of the kids in my classes. And I remember it being incredibly difficult to comprehend being bullied for something that I was unaware was happening, especially in the moment. And so at this point in time, my parents decided to take me to the neurology department at Rady's. At Rady's, I met Dr. Gail Reiner, who formally diagnosed me with Tourette syndrome, and she said OC without the D, which essentially meant that I have obsessive compulsions, but they're not severe enough to deem a disorder. And I remember sitting in her office and looking at all these diagrams that she showed me that explained how so many neurological disorders overlap and how having one can increase your chances of having another or even having multiple others. And soon after, she started to teach me comprehensive behavioral intervention for ticks, which is also known as CBIT, in order to keep them at bay. I, as an 11, 12-year-old, spent so much time training my brain and my body to work together to satiate my ticking impulses. And while I was a kid, I hated it in the moment. I hated having to go to a specialist to deal with something that none of my friends had to do. That was super frustrating. My parents would constantly remind me to do my breathing exercises or whatever rituals I needed to perform every time I ticked. So every time they saw me do something, they would get on me to do my box breathing or whatever calmed me down at that time. And having someone on your case like that so frequently totally can stress you out and make you not want to work to better yourself in a goal like that, especially as a young kid when it's hard to understand the long-term benefits like I was. However, as time went on, I noticed that my tics were becoming more manageable, and I realized that Dr. Gale was actually exactly the type of person capable of helping me. And everything that she was having my parents do with me outside of session was actually very successful. And it was because of this therapy and Dr. Gale that I really solidified the notion that I wanted to help people, specifically within the medical field. I remember going into sessions, asking her lots of questions and being very involved in my process of tic reducing behaviors. They were just very interesting to me. And I think part of that is because I've always loved learning. School was always my favorite thing to do because I felt good at it. And science was my favorite subject, although it didn't come the easiest to me, definitely not as easy to me as some of my other classmates, but I love it so much. And I was already certain that I was going to grow up to be a doctor. So I jumped on any chance I could to practice it across all settings. So even as a young kid, once I realized that I had Tourette's, I wanted to educate people about what it means to live a life with it. And in 7th grade, the science fair rolled around and we all had to participate and do different experiments. So I conducted the experiment on myself, having my mom track how frequently I ticked across various activities for 5-minute intervals. And I actually found that I ticked the most when I watched TV or did my homework. And I didn't tick at all when I played my violin or guitar or I listened to music. And those results that I got at the end of this experiment proved to me that my ticking is not an isolated instance, but rather can be impacted by external factors, which brought me a lot of comfort. I thought that if I can identify what activities or situations result in an increase of my ticking, then I can either completely avoid them or I could go into them knowing that I will be utilizing the calming techniques that I had been introduced to by Dr. Gale. This science project allowed me to take my pain and suffering and turn it into power and education. A short while later, I joined 8th grade and I was in a philanthropic organization called MadCaps, where we started to work with the Therapeutic Recreational Services of San Diego, which is also known as TRS. And I would volunteer at their summer camps for kids and adults on the spectrum. And if you've never heard of TRS and you're in the area, I highly recommend checking them out and all of the amazing programs that they put on year round. The camp that was my personal favorite to work every year is Camp Wet and Wild. It's a week-long camp that they do at Mission Beach, and it allows people of all ages on the spectrum to do fun activities like surfing, kayaking, paddleboarding, dancing, literally anything you could do out in the sun. Any people of all skill levels are welcome. And honestly, the activities were totally inclusive and fun for both the participants and the volunteers. I kind of also think that was part of the reason why I loved it so much. And I remember I felt such a sense of accomplishment after that first year of volunteering that I continued to volunteer every summer after until COVID. And as a grade school student, I decided that I wanted to become a doctor. So I did everything I could to give myself the best shot at making that happen. When I say everything, I mean everything. I put my schooling and academic extracurriculars above everything and everyone else. And I devoted a better part of my childhood to setting future me up for success, or what I thought success looked like at the time. I went to UCSD for undergrad and spent 3 years studying human biology, and I was still determined to become a surgeon, or so I thought. Through COVID, though, I had a massive directional shift. Since all of our teaching was now online, I found it super difficult to stare at my computer screen for 10 to 12 hours daily. I found myself retaining almost none of the information that was being pushed at me, and I began to become increasingly frustrated. And on top of that, my tics started to present themselves as I was feeling more stressed frequently. And my tics had been pretty much wiped for years before this. So it was kind of shocking for me to almost like feel like I was relapsing. Um, all of this going on and trying to finish the degree that I was planning to graduate with became so burdensome that I started to become just completely burnt out of school. But I didn't realize that that was what I was experiencing at the time. I was also experiencing severe health issues that no doctor or specialist within the Western medical field could resolve or even identify. So, on top of feeling burnt out, I resented the very field that I was primed to join. And that was probably one of the scariest times of my life, as I was beginning to feel the life plan that I had set up for myself slipping away from me. And as someone with obsessive compulsive tendencies, it was pretty difficult to see any positives coming out of the situation. I just kept repeating the same things in my head, and I felt myself spiraling, and it was hard to see light at the end of the tunnel, especially, in a extreme circumstance like COVID, when there's really no one around to direct you or give you any guidance. At this time, my health took a pretty significant turn, and I had exhausted all of my options within Western medicine. So I did what I do best. I researched and scoured the web and any sources that I could find to come up with some sort of solution for myself. And I eventually found a naturopath who practices holistic medicine who was immediately able to diagnose what I was experiencing. I found out that all of my issues stem from my reproductive anatomy, which I quickly realized that Western medicine knows little about. I'm sure that everyone here has at least one woman in their lives that have gone to doctors with concerns or ailments or whatever that were either completely dismissed or minimized without adequate testing or strong enough sense of urgency. That is not what I experienced within naturopathic medicine. It is very holistic. And so while on my road to recovery, I delved into this holistic medicine and learned so much about important topics like our microbiomes, how important nutrition is, and things women can do to alleviate a lot of their unwanted symptoms without having to resort to invasive surgeries or hormonal medications or whatever doctors try to push at us all the time. I found myself in an endless rabbit hole of information, basically. And with a little nudge from my dad, I actually eventually was led to the field of mycology. And I instantly became fascinated with that in all aspects. And for those of you who may not know, mycology is the study of fungi. And because I'm a nerd about it, I'll tell you a little bit about it. Fungi are the oldest known multicellular organism on the planet. And we as humans share more DNA with fungi than we do any other living organism. And that's pretty fascinating to me. I learned that fungi are being used to clean up oil spills, to reintroduce nutrients into stripped soil, and are even being tested to treat people who suffer from conditions such as Alzheimer's, PTSD, depression, addiction, and even autism. And it was from learning information like this that I felt my passion for schooling and learning start to slowly creep back in. Finally, as a senior in college, I decided to completely change my major from human biology to global health. Both were very similar majors. However, global health allowed me to take courses that were more sociological and holistic. And the combination of super fascinating courses that I was taking with these professors who were just so passionate about their curriculum, plus my undeniable health improvements, made me obsessed with the field of female health. I spent my last 2 months of college in Bali, wrapping up my degree and absorbing as much information as I could about naturopathic medicine and all the ways that we can sustainably use nature and community for health benefits. And I came home a fresh college graduate and so full of hope and determination. But since I was no longer on the pre-med route, the life plan that I had set up for myself years before had abruptly ended, and I had to figure out what my first job was going to be post-college. I spent months scanning the web, applying to any and every lab job or science-based position that seemed obtainable with the amount of prior experience that I had. And honestly, there were a lot less jobs than I expected there to be. COVID also made this extra hard since many of these positions required multiple years of in-person experience, which I was unable to complete during undergrad. I was feeling kind of hopeless, and I eventually gave up on applying to these types of jobs, and I had to figure out what other types of jobs I thought I could be good at and hopefully also interested, because really at that time, nothing seemed more depressing to me than taking a job where I wouldn't be using the degree that I just worked so hard to achieve. I eventually came across a job posting for a registered behavioral technician through an ABA company, and I decided to apply due to my previous years of experience volunteering with people on the spectrum. I got the job, and after my training and certification were complete, I began to work with several kids around San Diego County. And at some point, I realized that this sort of work was coming pretty easy to me. I was usually able to understand why a child was behaving in the ways that they were and what could be done to alter that behavior. And the more that I worked with these kids, the more similarities I started to notice between them and myself, but especially with the girls. And I have held this position for 2 years now. And through these past 2 years, I've done lots of self-reflection and have come to the conclusion that the reason why I relate to these kids that I work with and am able to connect with them on a deeper level is because I'm also on the spectrum. Girls on the spectrum do not present the same as boys, and it's because girls function so differently and society puts different pressures on them than boys that a lot of girls get diagnosed later in life. In retrospect, I feel like I should have put 2 and 2 together a lot sooner, but I didn't notice how many of my behaviors I shared with the children that I worked with until I saw them presented in others outside of myself. This self-realization has made me think back to a lot of instances in my life where I might have felt like I was being dramatic or invalidated or just felt uneasy for no good reason, when I now realize I may have just been overstimulated. For example, one day before moving into my dorm on campus, my mom and I spent all day shopping. We went to all the fun stores like Target and Home Goods, TJ Maxx, literally like it should have been a great day. My mom's my best friend. We love to go shopping, and I was about to start college. So it should have been fun and it should have ended on a high note. But by maybe the 5th or 6th store that we got to, I could not will myself out of the car, and I begged and pleaded with my mom to just take us home. I literally began to cry at the thought of going into another loud store where the lights were too bright and where I couldn't just sit down and decompress. But now, knowing that I tend to get overstimulated in crowded areas like stores, I just wear noise canceling headphones, and I am able to prevent myself from feeling overstimulated in situations like that. I now also realize that I definitely should have had an IEP throughout schooling, but because I was so good at masking, which is a term that I've just learned recently within the past few years, and because I had such a strong work ethic. I constantly pushed myself to the max and just considered myself to be a hard worker. I only started to realize that maybe there was something else going on in my final years of college because I had such severe ADHD tendencies that I couldn't even keep a train of thought for more than a minute at a time. And I now realize that not everybody constantly thinks about how much time they have left while taking a test, or if they need to flip the laundry, or if the laundry was flipped uh, too fast, or, like how much time did I waste on this test thinking about the laundry, or all the million of other things that have nothing to do with the task at hand. I've always had those tendencies, but extremely stressful situations like trying to finish a STEM degree on Zoom when your professors don't know how to work Zoom definitely exacerbated them. Another example is like when I feel certain textures on my skin, I can't focus on anything else until they're dealt with. Even now at 24, if I feel a little bit of wetness on my sock, or if something is too scratchy on my back, I literally have to stop what I'm doing until I solve that sensory issue for myself. And all of these behaviors that I've mentioned are things that I spend my time teaching kids how to navigate. And it's because I have firsthand experience and continue to discover these things about myself that I feel like I'm able to put myself in the child's shoes and get creative when it comes to problem solving. And in working with these kids, I've also learned how important vocabulary is. When you're someone on the spectrum experiencing phenomena like burnout or overstimulation, etc., if you don't have the words to explain how or what you're feeling, it can be incredibly isolating. With that said, sometimes it can seem like an impossible task at hand to even get a child to understand what these words mean or to associate them with their unwanted behaviors. And that's when you really have to get creative. There's this one kid in particular that I've worked with regularly for the past 2 years that really inspires me to continue work after I've clocked out because of how much progress we continue to make. I personally have never felt such a sense of accomplishment as I do watching him succeed, and every goal that I watch him crush gives me so much hope for all children on the spectrum, honestly. Um, he has helped me embrace my own journey of self-discovery and has solidified the purpose and fulfillment that I gain in helping others navigate theirs. Working with children on the spectrum forces you to feel the immense powers of empathy, understanding, and acceptance. And our world is very rich with diversity, yet too often individuals with neurological differences like Tourette's or autism face stigma, misunderstanding, and barriers to inclusion. So it's important to ask ourselves, like, what can we do to create a more inclusive and supportive society for neurodiverse individuals? For me personally, it's to proudly share my story and use my education as a tool to change stereotypes and misconceptions. But we as a society need to fund more organizations like Autism Tree, which provide spaces where individuals feel valued, respected, and empowered to be their authentic selves. We need to celebrate the unique talents and perspectives that neurodiverse individuals bring to our world. We need to keep starting these types of conversations and keep having them as much as we can, and volunteering with organizations that do good for the community and support each other however we can. Especially in America, we need to diverge from the individualistic mindset that is so often pushed on us and work together as a community. We need to relearn the beauty and power that come from working together. Advocacy is one of the strongest ways that we can exude empathy. And as a community, we can foster a world in which everyone, regardless of their neurological differences, has the opportunity to live a life of dignity, respect, and fulfillment. And I feel so grateful for the opportunity to share my story on a platform such as this. It's been a truly humbling experience to recount the challenges that I've faced over the years and the lessons that I've learned from them along the way. And through sharing my experiences, I hope to inspire others on their own paths of self-discovery and acceptance. And I'm incredibly thankful for the support and understanding that I've been met with over the years. And I'm hopeful that my story and those alike can make a positive impact in fostering greater empathy and inclusivity in our society. So I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me this time to share. And I would love to stick around and chat with anyone or answer any questions that there might be. And that is all I have for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Devon. Oh, wow. I'm blown away, and you're so, I think I can speak for all of us watching that this has really been really inspiring. And listening to your journey of self-discovery and where you are now, and all of the, ups and downs that you've gone through to figure it out and do what's best for you. And it's really admirable how you've picked yourself up and really found ways to connect with the kids you're working with, connect with everyone. And Melissa said this has been so great to watch and listen. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you, Melissa.
Melissa, I welcome you to as well, say hi, unmute yourself, share anything you'd like. Same with you, Jeff and Terrence. If you'd like to say anything to Devon, now's the time.
Devon, I was listening to your story about the mall, and one of the things that I do is I'm always wearing headphones and earbuds because nowadays everything's overstimulating me. I mean, I've been working at a grocery store for 14 years, and while tomorrow's going to be my last day, it's I'm going to still go back there as a customer. So it's always a good idea to wear headphones. And I think the problem is, a lot of families really don't understand that, wearing headphones is essentially, is being rude. It's being insubordinate and churlish and all that. But it's really, it's just part of who they are. I mean, if people want to wear headphones in public, like at the mall, they should do that. And there's no doubt about it. And I think I think what you brought up about that was very informative.
Thank you. Yeah, no, honestly, once I discovered that that was a solution for myself, I always carry them with me wherever I go. And I also think that you don't necessarily need to be considered to be on the spectrum to get overstimulated. Anybody can get overstimulated at any time. And so these tools that we use can be applied across everyone and so many different situations. They're just good tools to have.
Mhm.
Completely agree. Terrence, do you want to say anything?
Oh, yes. I like what you're saying about let's see, like for the science class that you took, Devon. And so like what you it's like it's like reproductive something. I took anthropology class like 2 years ago in fall semester, and because I like science, because yeah, I like science class, and so is music. And so I like what you're saying about the anatomy thing for like it's like a human biology and health. And that's first. So second of all, I like what you're saying about the shopping, like shopping malls. And so it's kind of fun to shop. Sometimes like people get crowded there at the mall. Because I like shopping too. That's all I can say.
Do you ever notice that you get comfort or you de-escalate when you play music or listen to music? Or is that a way that you like satiate how you're feeling?
A little bit. It feels like, I guess, feels really good right now because I always use walking shoes because it's kind of like a long way to go for the shopping mall or something.
Yeah, but you're going to the Berkeley School of Music, right?
Yeah, I'm doing the online.
Yeah. So when you get to be around music and conduct music and play your trombone, does that make you feel more calm?
Yeah, it does help because like music is what feeling sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
really helps.
Yeah, I think it's a great tool to use to calm
Yes.
ourselves down or to de-stress or to
Yes.
even express our emotions. Sometimes we have difficulty, holding
Yes.
in our emotions, and sometimes music is the perfect way to release them.
Yes. Thanks.
Thank you.
Um, I see that Melissa. Hi, Melissa. You see
Hi.
this?
Hi. I'm like just starting my lunch break, so I can't really jump in sooner, but I wanted to listen at least. This was a really good, I think I really needed it today. We're kind of struggling with some changes. Both of my kids are diagnosed. My son will be 3 in July. My daughter just turned 5, and I relate to a lot of what has been said just because I, through their therapy, I see and recognize a lot of the challenges that, it's not until you see it with someone else or we're talking about it with our team that you're like, start getting these aha moments of, oh, that's what I feel, or that's what I do, or when, you feel that guilt after having a strong emotional reaction to something and not understanding why is it that I get that way, so a lot of what was said is really touched me, and we're kind of we just got our 30-day notice from a provider we've been working with for a couple years, and for ABA, and I'm kind of lost as to what's next, as far as in network, out of network, the debates with ABA in general, with the neurodivergent community, and kind of like figuring out what's next for me and my kids. So, I'm just one of those days and trying to make it all work and, be a mama bear for my kids, but I'm just a little bit scared and hurt and anxious about what we're going to have to do next. So that's kind of where I'm at today. But I'm happy to have resources like Autism Tree, which I really need to dive back into. We really jumped into it in the beginning when we first got Michelle diagnosed. And I think just with all the therapies we've been doing and our school schedules and work schedules, it just feels like, I really wasn't able to make time or find time to participate in many of the Autism Tree activities, but we always enjoy them. So it'd be a really good time for us to circle back and, find help within our community too. So that's just kind of where we're at today.
Thank you, Melissa, for sharing that. I'm so glad. I think it was meant to be that you joined today. And I'm just so grateful that you're here and you got to listen to Devon speak. And I'd love to connect you with some other families that are going through the same thing and, navigating. And I kind of wonder, what are your top concerns with your 2 kids right now? What is on the top of your mind, I wonder if any of us can help right now that we have you on. Oh, I'm not sure if we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I've always struggled with that feature on Zoom calls, using my phone. Okay, so I guess big picture, Michelle's been doing really well. She has a speech delay. She started UTK this year. She's a dual language immersion school. We have a good SPED team there. So far, they've been really communicative and coming up with plans to help her get the support she needs as needed. So that's been great. And I think the ABA really helped us set her up for that environment and the demands in school. For my son, it's, he's a whole different person, as you know, like on the spectrum, like no one person is the same. So, he's still younger. Luckily, we were able to kind of get programs started for him sooner because we knew what to look for. We didn't really know much about anything when Michelle was diagnosed. So we felt a little bit more prepared, but still not sure how we can best support him sometimes, because he's a little bit, he's nonverbal and at the moment. And, he does struggle when he's dysregulated. He does a lot of self-harming behaviors when he's upset, or even behaviors to us or to Michelle. So that can be hard because we want to help him, and it's hard to find ways of communicating so that he understands, we're here to help and help him know that it'll get better. So with us having the 30-day notice, I get most concerned with Mateo, because he's really utilizing a lot of services right now. We only have since he's under 3, we only have like an hour of an hour of OT and an hour of speech at the moment, and then 20 hours for ABA. So I'm kind of just at this tornado of like, okay, who we're going to work with next? How long will that wait list be? What do we do? In the meantime, in the next 30 days, I'm going to work with then and get as much benefit as we can while.
Oh, Melissa, you cut out.
Right now, definitely. Hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Just the last few sentences we missed.
Okay.
You start.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just getting some anxiety with what's next and figuring out what we're gonna do. But I think I feel like Michelle's gonna do okay with a pause, or maybe shifting more focus into speech and OT. But with Mateo, he just has a lot of more challenges right now. So I think I have more anxiety about that.
Yeah. And where do you live in San Diego right now?
We're in central San Diego. We're in South Park.
Okay. And where are they getting their services right now? Is it one place for all of them?
We're currently working with Point and Associates.
Okay.
And it was a bumpy start, but we were under the impression that we were able to get some of our needs met as far as what our expectations of services were. And I don't know if maybe my demands as a parent for my kids' services started to get too much for them, and they felt that they just weren't a good fit anymore. And so we haven't noticed, because and I don't know how much of it's me too, because I'm very honest and upfront about things on what I'm communicating. And I felt like they use that to my disadvantage of being like, well, it's an uncomfortable environment for our therapists or communication styles. And I've actively been working on it. And I started looping in my husband on all of our conversations so that I had someone else there to see and help me if he ever felt I needed it. But even then, um, I guess it just, they feel it's no longer a good fit. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, oh,
I
okay.
know. I'm
I
so
mean, and
sorry.
I've been crying all morning and all evening because the thought of starting all over and not even knowing. And I think also the hurt, the pain of the connections we've made with our therapy team and the kids have made with their therapy team is just kind of breaks my heart to like, they won't understand, you know.
Right.
I mean, luckily they're still young enough to where I think they'll be okay eventually, but you know, we try not to have too much change for them when it comes to the people coming to our home or working with them. We try to make it more of a routine and make them make genuine connections with the right people. So it's kind of just sucks to
Yeah.
start all over.
That is so stressful. I'm so sorry that's happening right now. And I definitely want to hop on a call with you sometime this week. Maybe we can brainstorm a few options.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I could use whatever help I can get because I feel like I put a lot on my shoulders, like Don was saying, like just a hard worker, just finding ways to get it done.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of my own mental health gets sacrificed because I'm still doing my full-time job. I'm still being a mom of two, on top of figuring out this global climate and everything else that's going on in the world and appreciating what we have. And,
Yeah,
you know, it's just a lot going on at one time. So
definitely.
it's just, it's tough to balance. And I think I need to also start finding resources just for myself and just to help talk, you know, maybe find some therapy for me so that I can get the attention that I need too, because I feel like I'm always putting myself last. I'm diabetic and it's so easy for me to just prioritize other things and then I'm at the bottom. So I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. This is so common. I mean, it's a lot, that our families go through every single day, our parents, especially our moms, trying to balance everything and take care of everyone. And, self-care is really important, obviously. We've had a few lunch and learns that focus on that topic specifically that I can send you just in the meantime, but also, I mean, I just want to acknowledge, thank you for sharing all of that. And I'm really glad you're here today. And I'm glad that you got something out of Devon speaking. And Devon, yes, I do want to pass it off to you and Jeff to say a little few things to share with Melissa.
I think Jeff, you raised your hand, right? Did you want to say something?
Yes, Melissa, I have a website called Going the Distance. It's my platform and my business. And I do offer trainings and consultations about how to help. One of the services I offer, one of the consultation trainings I offer is I reach out, I do presentations based on, autism and Disney characters, where we can see traits of neurodiversity in Disney characters. And I think that might help you understand, get to know your kids more on their level, and understand their needs. I also have a 2-part training featuring Angelina Ballerina that I also offer. So and feel free to look at all that I have to offer, and hopefully you can maybe learn something from it. And I also have my contact information as well on my website. So if you want to send me like
Okay.
a message or anything, just let me know.
I would love that. You know, we're a big Disney family. So I think that would be really nice.
Devon, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I can only imagine how stressful it is to have the services that you rely on just taken from you in an instant. I've seen it happen a lot since I've become an RBT. And honestly, a couple of the biggest takeaways that I've gotten from working in this position is that a lot of these companies do exactly what you said you felt like was happening, which is like they will kind of take your passion and determination to hold them at a higher standard for your child as you being negative or you being a helicopter mom or whatever terms they want to throw at you. And sometimes it scares people, or maybe they feel like they have like a complex or something where they need to be in charge, and so they don't know how to work with different personalities. And I've also come away with the realization that while ABA is very beneficial for kids and people who are on the spectrum, it is not the be all end all. And maybe, you know, by having this 30-day notice, it could be a blessing in disguise. It could offer you time to actually put yourself first, which, you know, I think is very integral for these kids and their improvement, especially with mothers. I've seen it too often that moms put themselves last and then they digress, and then they can't keep up with the progress that their kids are making because, you know, now they have different needs. And whenever you're feeling like you need time for yourself or you need to do something for yourself, it's important that you act on that, because in the moment you might think like, oh, well, I could be doing X, Y, and Z for my kids, like whatever, but you are doing something for your kid in that moment, taking care of yourself. The kid that I talked about that I've been working with for the past 2 years, I've seen it with his mom. And today she is like a completely different person than she was when we first started working together, because she has been able to step up and take care of herself. And now everybody's, you know, it's kind of easier to just like take care of everybody at once.
Yeah.
With all that said, I think that Autism Tree and TRS and all of these different organizations are so holistic in the sense that they're not just going to push one type of therapy or like one program onto you. And so while it might feel a little daunting right now, you do have so many great options at your disposal. And I think that the best bet would just be to try them all.
Okay. Yeah, any this goes for all of you guys, or any of this information you want to share, yeah, you can leave it in the comments, or I can always try to get in touch with you guys other ways. And I'm all ears and open. And I was using those same words that you're saying, Dawn, as far as a blessing in disguise, that maybe this is you know, a divine intervention of change that's needed for our family and an opportunity to possibly find something better. So, you know, I'm trying to be, you know, optimistic, because that's what I have to do. We've got to push forward. But I can't deny that I don't have that, you know, that gut, you know, feeling of what if, or what's next, or, you know, so I'm just trying to remain focused on giving them the best that I can do for now, and taking it as an opportunity.
Mhm. One step at a time.
Thanks again.
I don't even know what to say, Devon. That was amazing. Yeah. Everything you said is what I see across all of our families. And it's good advice for anybody who has a special needs kid. And I'm just so grateful for you, Devon, and Jeff, and Terrence for all being here, and Melissa. I think this was meant to be. I am really grateful for this, and I think you guys made my day brighter for sure. And I don't even know how to take it from here. Yeah, I definitely I like had so many things in my mind, but like I'm having a really hard time communicating today. But I did want to say, Devon, I love that you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it advocacy is empathy? And
Yeah, advocacy is one of the strongest ways that we can exude empathy, in my opinion.
mhm. And I love, you know, Melissa, that's what you're doing for your kids every day. And
Yeah, never think you're doing too much. There's no such thing as a mom. You could never do too much. So if someone tries to make you feel that way, that's a them problem. And maybe it's better that you don't have to deal with those types of people anymore, because you want people who are on your side and who are doubling down on the things that you notice, because you are home based. You're the one that's around the kid the most. And also, I think sometimes parents might underestimate their own skills, you know, just from being in the same room as a therapist, and you know, you catch a lot more than you might realize, and you can implement that with your kids on your own. It's really just, you know, repetition and a schedule and giving them hope, and that's really all an RBT is anyways. So I think you'll be okay.
yeah, definitely. Well, I'd love to end it there, and Melissa will touch base, and let's take a group picture before we all go. And yeah, I'd love to do that right now. So I will take a screenshot. Just smile at the camera, everyone. Ready? 3, 2, 1, please. Perfect. Thank you, Devon. This was incredible. You're amazing.
Thank you
And
so much for allowing me to talk.
this was so much fun. Thanks, you
Yeah,
guys.
you did a nice job, Devin.
Thank you.
done.
It was
Job.
lovely to meet you all.
Thank you so
It was
much for
nice to meet
everything.
you too, Devin. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too, Terrence.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
Take care, guys.
Bye.